Bad news is everywhere. In fact, in the prepping community, it's increasingly the topic of more and more videos. I do this because I want a stronger America and maybe reach a few individuals that can help set an example. To understand the world, we must pay attention to the bad. It's how we work against it. It's how we understand how we can then work to produce and participate in the culture of modern America. Why center on America? If you look at the younger generations everywhere, it's plain to see not only do we export physical goods, we export our ways of thinking, our values, and the beliefs we hold, our culture. And that is where the problem lies. Being able to process this information and base yourself inside the objective truth can take a heavy mental toll. The fear of reprisal, the fear of losing what one has worked for if you say the wrong thing, or even the fear of having your words stripped of its context and presented to the world, it can be tough. It can make you want to disengage and not participate. In the process of creating a non-victim mindset, it's important that we continue to serve as examples in our communities and to showcase success, versatility, and resiliency. So how can we stay resilient in the face of bad news? How can we strengthen our minds? Let's go over 5 things you can do to stay in the fight, going from individual to true community level impact. Focus and perspective depend upon mental well-being, which in turn depends, to a large extent, upon physical well-being. Pay attention that you get enough sleep and exercise while also avoiding numbing behaviors such as binge drinking and drug taking. Drinking and drugs are escapist and harm your health, the exact opposite of someone with survival and resiliency in mind. Even mild exercise such as walking or gardening decreases stress, improves concentration and memory, boosts self-esteem, and directly lifts mood through the release of endorphins. Other ways to give your endorphins a boost include holding someone's hand, laughing, singing, and enjoying a delicious meal. All these things within moderation will have a net positive effect on your physical well-being, which will lead to a stronger and more capable mind that will be primed to seek solutions. Doom scrolling through social media or being glued to the news in times of crisis is extremely common. You sometimes need to disengage and take a break. That's not to say don't engage at all. It's important to know what's going on. But watching a totally unrelated program based around other interests, reading a book, or working on a hobby occasionally is advisable. The other side of the coin is that there's also research that repeated reflection on the negativity can speed up emotional recovery. Offsetting the doom with uplifting and positive stories is vital, but so is facing reality. There is good in the world still worth fighting for, even if it seems that there isn't enough. If you feel the need to take a break, look for stories of good acts and deeds, stories of love and hope. These encourage us to also see the good in the world, have a goal, and to act and be at our best as well. Bad news can often lead to rash decision-making, turning a bad situation into a catastrophe. If you can, sleep on it. Obviously, if there's an imminent threat, this does not apply. But if the outcome can't be fixed within 48 hours, you might as well give yourself a quick break. When we sleep, our memories from the day are processed and moved from our emotional to our analytical mind. We can then think about the situation and make decisions formed by the rational part of our brain rather than our fight or flight limbic system. That's why if you give yourself some time to think over a purchase, especially when moving away from someone using a high-pressure sales tactic, we tend to not buy something that we probably would have under a more impulsive frame of mind. Activating the brain to move past bad news and towards a solution or positive response is key. Deep breaths, naps, restful sleep will help push you out of the gray zone and back into the arena. Reaching out to friends and family for support or finding others with similar interests and concerns is key to building a successful community. As I've mentioned, you want to make friends, but you also have to understand the nuance here. You can't make friends with everybody. You have to be sure that the person that you are making contact with is actually healthy for you. It's easy to internalize the negativity and turn to unhealthy coping mechanisms. If you have a social support system where you can discuss the negative emotions that come with being keyed into much of the world's negative aspects so that you can counter them, it enables us to take ownership of the feelings we develop. This leads to a more balanced and rational response to the event. For instance, if you acted upon every doom and gloom prediction without discussing it with other like-minded individuals, you can easily talk yourself into buying unnecessary amounts of new equipment or goods that you will ultimately never need. In the face of bad news, and there's a lot of it, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by a sense of powerlessness. The best way to move past the negativity is to take direct action against it. Do not be afraid to voice your opinion or take positive steps in your community. Are people in need of job assistance? Work within that field and let them know what you're about. Teach the next generation. Organize a community cleanup. Engage in the media. Encourage participation in arts and crafts. There is nothing stopping you from running for these small political offices where you can then build a political background. These are just as important for a culture to thrive. Be as proactive as you can be, because it's through these actions that a region gets bombarded with the message you're trying to spread. It's through the feeling of action that we feel like our efforts were not in vain. We can move towards not just being more resilient as an individual, but we can gain strength in acting as the leaders in our communities. I hope that today you get your mind right and in the game. Remember the bigger picture. Remember that you impact and shape the world more than you know. How you treat or teach somebody can impact them for the rest of their lives, further impacting more people down the road. As I keep saying, Rome wasn't built in a day. These situations that brought us here took decades in the making. The larger scope of being prepared is preventing our spirit and culture from ceasing to exist. Prepare the best that you can for 3 days, 3 weeks, and 3 months. Then you can move on to thinking about preparing for 3 years, 3 decades, and 3 generations. The proper impact is yours to make. Until the next video, be good, stay safe, and have a good one.